All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're about to dive into a pretty huge idea about who you are, or maybe more accurately, who you think you are. We're going to be exploring this thing called the ego tunnel.
Okay, to really get this, let's kick things off with a quote that basically challenges everything you think you know. The philosopher Thomas Metzinger says that the beautiful color of a sunset isn't actually out there in the sky. Nope, it's a property of a simulation that's running inside your head. And get this isn't just about color, it's about, well, everything.
So, this brings us right to the heart of his theory, the ego tunnel. The idea is that you never actually experience reality directly. Instead, your brain builds this seamless internal world, a reality tunnel, that you live inside of. The trick is, you don't see the walls of the tunnel, you just see the world it's projecting for you. It's totally transparent. So you ready? Let's take a little tour. Okay, first stop on our tour. This one's a biggie. We have to get our heads around the idea that the world you perceive, it isn't really the real world. It's more like a personalized model, just for you.
Think about it like this. Outside of your mind, the world is basically a chaotic ocean of electromagnetic radiation, just different wavelengths bouncing around. Totally colorless. Your brain is like a reality engine. It sucks in all that chaos, processes it, and then paints the inside of your tunnel with rich, vibrant color. So that gorgeous apricot pink sunset, yeah, that's a private screening, playing only inside your head. All right, so if the world out there is just a model, what about the person in here who's experiencing it all? Yep, you've probably guessed where this is headed. Our sense of self is also a construction.
You know that feeling of your hands right now, maybe holding your phone? Or the feeling of the chair you're sitting on? You're not actually in direct contact with those things. What you're feeling is just the output of a really sophisticated virtual body model that's running in your brain. And things get, well, really weird when that model starts to glitch.
I mean, just look at the classic case of phantom limbs. You have people who've had a limb amputated, but they report this incredibly vivid, absolutely undeniable feeling of that limb still being there. They can feel it itch, they feel it move, they can even feel it ache.
This just goes to show you our sense of having a body. It's generated by a map in the brain, not by the body parts themselves. The brain just keeps on running the simulation of that arm or leg, even when the actual hardware is long gone.
And if you thought that was strange, get ready for alien hand syndrome. This is a super rare neurological condition where, and I'm not kidding, one of a person's hands seems to develop a mind of its own, acting completely against their conscious will.
Seriously, people have reported their own hand trying to choke them in their sleep, or unbuttoning a shirt they just buttoned. This is not just a muscle spasm, it's complex, goal-directed behavior. These cases are so dramatic because they completely shatter that feeling we all have of being one single unified person in charge of our body. It shows just how fragile that illusion really is.
Okay, so my body's a model. I get it. But I'm still the one calling the shots, right? I'm the one making the decisions. Well, science is starting to poke some serious holes in that very intuitive feeling we all have. So the story we tell ourselves is super simple, right? I decide to do something, then I do it. But a lot of studies are suggesting the timeline is, well, it's all mixed up. It seems your brain starts preparing to act a split second before you're even aware of the decision to act. That feeling of deciding might just be the brain's press release for an event that's already underway. And this feeling of being in control, it can literally be manufactured. There's this famous experiment where a person was basically tricked into thinking they chose to move a mouse pointer to a specific object. In reality, someone else was secretly controlling it. All it took was hearing the name of the object, say swan, right before the pointer landed on the swan for them to report, yeah, I meant to do that. It's just one more special effect being generated inside your ego tunnel.
So this raises a huge question, right? If every single one of us is living in our own private simulated universe, our own little ego tunnel, then how in the world do we connect with each other? How do we build friendships or societies, or even just have a simple conversation?
It sounds like it should be impossible, but our brains have this amazing evolutionary hack. They've figured out how to build bridges from one tunnel to another. See, we don't just create a model of ourselves and the world, we also create models of other people's minds.
A huge piece of this puzzle is something called mirror neurons. These things are wild. They're brain cells that basically dissolve the boundary between you and someone else.
When you watch someone pick up a glass, your mirror neurons fire in the exact same way they would if you were the one picking up the glass.
This is the very foundation of empathy. It's why you flinch when you see someone else get hurt. It's why yawns are so contagious. Your brain is literally running a simulation of what other people are experiencing. It creates what the scientist Vittorio Galeazzi called a shared manifold, basically a common ground where our private tunnels can actually overlap.
And all of this leads to a final, absolutely mind-bending point. If our reality is a simulation and our self is just a model, what happens when we get the tools to start editing the source code? And this isn't science fiction, folks. This is happening right now.
So, back in 2008, a poll in the journal Nature found that 1 out of every 5 scientists they asked admitted to using smart drugs, things like Ritalin or modafinil, not because they needed them medically, but to boost their focus or memory. The age of intentionally designing our own consciousness, it's already here.
And this, of course, just throws open a total Pandora's box of what people are calling neuroethics. I mean, think about it. Should we be designing drugs to make us smarter, to get rid of sadness altogether, to make us more moral? And who gets to decide what a good or desirable state of consciousness even is?
What the ego tunnel theory really shows us is that our inner world has always been a construction. The difference is, now, for the first time in human history, we're finding the blueprints and building the tools. We're going from just living inside our minds to being the architects of the.
So, you see, understanding the ego tunnel isn't just some abstract philosophical game. It actually hands us this immense responsibility. And it leaves you with one final, very personal question to chew on. If you knew for sure that your entire experience of yourself and the world was a construct, and you had the power to safely edit it, what would you change? What would you build?